Hey, welcome back to the BGX podcast. My guest today is a Magic expert and TikTok creator. Welcome to Allen, the GoatBard MTG. Welcome, Allen. How are you today?
Doing all right, man.
Awesome. So thanks so much for being on the show today. Why don't you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself and sort of tell them how you got into Magic and board games?
So I'm Allen, also known as the Goatbard MTG on TikTok. So long time ago, I want to say, 2004, 2003, 2004. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh for the longest time, and it started to get a lot very kind of over the top and a little weird for me. Then I had a buddy of mine introduce me to Magic the Gathering. This was at the start of the original Kamigawa block. And I was like, oh man, this seems way easier. And boy, was I right. I got into Magic super quick, and it was very, very easy to learn, especially at the time, because it was a much simpler game than it is now. But so it was super easy to learn, super easy to get into. And it was also about around then that I started to seeing more and more board games that caught my eye than Monopoly or Parcheesi or things like that.
Right.
Like RPG style board games, and I never knew those existed before. I was like, oh yeah, if I love playing MMOs, why wouldn't I love trying to play a RPG style board game?
Right.
And then from there, Magic and board games just started to become more and more a part of my collection of hobbies.
Yeah. So speaking of Magic, what's kind of your play style? What deck do you prefer?
Oh man, when it comes to Magic, I don't have one particular play style or one particular deck that I like playing. I'm kind of I'm kind of an all-arounder. I like playing everything. I like doing a lot of stuff within Magic. My favorite thing to do though is because I play Commander mostly. It's a 100-card format, singleton format. Mm-hmm. I choose a legendary creature and create a 99-card deck based around that legendary creature, and its colors, which is based off of its casting costs and any abilities that it may have. I like taking a commander and building it in a way that nobody would expect. Yeah, my biggest one is with a more recent card, the reality chip, and I built it as mono blue zombies. That's a very, as the community calls, janky deck. It works and it doesn't at the same time. I don't understand it, even though I built it.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Where do you do most of your playing right now?
Downstairs at my in my living room table, or online on this desk behind me.
Okay, gotcha. So when you're downstairs, I mean, do you have a regular group that comes over, or what's kind of your what's your play group right now?
Yeah, so my play group consists of consistently 3 of my buddies, also my wife and 2 of my roommates.
Okay.
We sit down, we play Magic. Some of them, mostly the roommates and my wife, sometimes join, but not too terribly much, because they have their lives that they try to do.
Right. What's that? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So you mentioned that you kind of got into board games a little bit as well. What about some of the maybe party games or some other games that you played as you were starting to get into the hobby?
Oh, party games. So things like Werewolf, secret role game, which was a lot of fun. You try to figure out who the werewolves are and remove them from the village and whatnot. I think I have one called Dear Lord.
Okay, yeah, I actually picked that one up at a thrift store the other day.
Yeah. I have a like party games are really fun. I own a lot of them. Chameleon is a really fun one. Hues and Clues, I believe it's called, is super fun. Yeah, I actually have an example of an RPG game that I picked up recently that I've been dying to play.
Which one is that?
Oh, right here. It's 30-pound game that I just
Nice.
recently picked up from Kickstarter called Dawn Shade.
On Shade.
And it's a big box.
Wow. Okay.
Oh gosh.
Do you get into Kickstarters a lot and kind of backing new projects and stuff?
Oh yeah, especially when it comes to board games. Board games and dice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of the inevitable dice goblins because of Magic and other board games and such too.
Yeah. So talk to me about some of the games you've backed on Kickstarter. I mean, what do you look for in a game when you're like thinking about maybe I should back this one? What sticks out to you as something that you want to support?
Content. The biggest thing in board games, or like sometimes I kickstart dice too.
Okay.
I look for content. I look at the quality of the game. I look up the company who made the Kickstarter, and I look at their stuff from before as well. One of the biggest things that stood out to me with like Dawn Shade or Moonrakers was another one that I kickstarted. I look for the quality, the content, and my biggest thing when it comes to board games, box design. That includes exterior and interior. And when I got Moonrakers in, it's one of those games where you can take the box, flip it upside down, shake it, turn it right side back up, open the box, and nothing moved.
Right.
It's the same thing with Dawn Shade.
Yeah, I mean that's almost a necessity, especially as games are getting more complex and more components. And the worst thing is you stack them vertically, or a kid gets a hold of them or whatever, and then you got to spend an hour sorting out all the components into their stuff.
Yeah, I don't like when a board game comes in and you open the box and everything is in bags.
Yeah.
And it's just an empty box otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a plain basic box with stuff in bags inside I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's lazy design, I think.
Right. Yeah, I mean put at least a simple insert in there to give me a little bit of functionality too with the box, right? Gotcha. So you mentioned a couple times you look at dice as well. I mean, what do you have a favorite set of dice, or what are you into as far as dice collection goes?
Just dice. Just dice. I recently did a Kickstarter for dice for a company. I think it went through Gatekeeper Games, and they did dice. They do dice collections and whatnot. But he went through and paired up with them, or is with them. I don't quite remember. It was called Mystery Dice, and I kicked it, and I got 4 sets of 11 die sets. So it's like 2d20 and 4d6 instead of the regular 7 die set. And I think it was 3 sets of those, and there's a bunch of like random stuff that I had no idea was coming. I asked for, it was like mystery stuff. So cool stuff, as he called it. It was just random stuff that he'd just add in, and I'd have no idea what it was. And I ended up getting 2 extra sets of dice with that. Wow. It was really cool. One of them was a solar system set. So you had a big old yellow D20 for the sun, and then all the different dice for the different planets and asteroid belts and moons and whatnot. It was a lot of cool. It was really cool.
Yeah. So is it the aesthetic of the dice? I mean, what really sticks out to you when you're looking at a set of dice and, considering purchase? What are you looking for the dice makers who may be out there trying to think up the next design?
Honestly, make it eye-catching. Make it something new. I know it's hard to do something new when it comes to, like resin dice or plastic dice or something along those lines. Make the dice legible. I know there's some dice out there that are, it's like this aluminum dice that has super cool designs on it. It's weird, but it's still legible because the dice the lines kind of run over onto different sides. But once it's on one side, you can tell by counting the lines on that face that, what side it is. So make them legible, make them interesting, make them balanced. A lot of times I get some dice in and they're not very well balanced. Like they'll consistently roll more towards one side than the other, or Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Involuntarily loaded dice, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, so you've been active on TikTok. I've seen, a few of your videos, and it seems like you're gaining some following there. So talk to me about that as you have gotten into the content creation aspect of the hobby.
So I got into content creation because of one particular content creator on TikTok. He inspired me a lot. Super cool guy. Gives away a commander deck every month. And I kept watching him and I was like, I want to do something like that. And I want to be able to help everybody else who may not have the ability to get expensive cards, who may not have the ability to make decks consistently like I can, or like he can, or like somebody else can. So I wanted to get into that and I wanted to do that. So I started with like deck showcases and deck techs. So that way I can show people, hey, this is the quality of deck that I can make. And when I get a little bit more into it, I can start saying, hey, now I can start giving decks of this quality away to whoever may enter into such giveaway.
Sure.
That way everybody else can also enjoy this game that I enjoy. Because the people who play Magic, I play Magic, everybody else who does play Magic, I want them to enjoy this game as much as I do. This is a game that everybody can enjoy. So a lot of times I'll hop on live and just pull out one of my rare binders and flip through it, and people are like, I want that card. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'll pull out of the binder and put it in a box for them and send it off to them.
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. Here's
Right.
some cards,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So if somebody is just getting into Magic and they're not really sure where to start in Arena and Commander and all this stuff, like, how do you recommend that they get plugged into the hobby, or what's a good way to get started?
I think a really good way to get started into Magic the Gathering, especially in Commander, because it's slowly becoming one of the most popular formats in the game, is to start with a pre-constructed deck provided by Wizards of the Coast. The pre-constructed Commander decks vary in power and complexity, but are an amazing way to get started, especially if you don't know how to deck build. You can play the game with this pre-constructed deck, and then later on be like, okay, I didn't like this card in the deck. What's something that I can replace in this? What's something that I can replace this card with? And eventually get to a point where this pre-constructed deck is no longer what you bought. It is something completely different, of a different quality, different power level, I guess what other people say. But it's something different and it still does what you wanted it to do. So definitely pre-constructed decks. If you can find somebody who is an amazing teacher for what Magic is, or an amazing teacher for Magic, then try to hook up with them, try to link up with them, and have them teach you the game. I wouldn't say I'm an amazing teacher, but I'm an okay teacher.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Magic for the most part is relatively easy to pick up. I mean, there's a few nuances and you have to kind of learn a little bit of the lingo, but
oh yeah,
once you've played 2 games, I mean, you're pretty much like, okay, I sort of get how this flows, and then kind of can adjust from there.
Right.
Yeah. So as you may know, I'm a big thrifter and a big looking for deals type of guy. I'm on Facebook Marketplace every day looking for hot steals. I've been seeing these lots of like 1,000 Magic cards for $50 and stuff like that. Is that a deal, or is that just totally a ripoff and I should steer clear? I mean, I need advice from the expert, because I don't want to lose money on this.
Okay, so I like buying in bulk a lot of the times. I would say if they allow you to go through the cards and you think you find, and like if there's like a bunch of rares in there, then it really depends on like the individual price of those cards. But a lot of times if somebody's just selling like 1,000 cards for $50, and they don't let you go through the cards to see, kind of gauge what's in there. It's like, that's a big toss up. It's really hard to tell. So it's kind of a, flip of a coin kind of thing, or roll of the dice or something. You're making a really big gamble when you buy bulk like that.
Gotcha. What about the lots? I've seen the lots too that say like, guaranteed 7 super rares and 8 rares, and like they have like listed out like how many of each rare type are in the lot, and then it's like plus 900 commons or whatever the thing is. Is something like that. I mean, is that even, should I even consider it as a rookie Magic buyer, or should I just steer clear from those altogether?
I'd say, again, if they don't allow you to look through them, if they're okay for like haggling, I guess, or try to bring down the price a little bit, so that way there isn't more potential of just losing out.
Sure.
Because I've bought in a couple bulk boxes like that before, and they're like, oh yeah, there's 100 rares and 25 mythic rares in here, and then the rest are commons and uncommons.
Right.
And I go through and I've bought this thing for $50, but every card in there is not even worth anything.
Right.
Even the rares and mythics, they're, so it's a really big gamble. Sometimes it is worth it, sometimes it isn't. I'd say it's more worth it if they list, hey, there's this many rares, or about this many rares, and about this many, whatever. I'd say it's more worth it than just saying, hey, here's 1,000 cards for $50.
Right. Well, I mean, what's the likelihood that I could construct a decent deck out of a lot like that? I mean, is that even going to be possible, or am I more likely to get random assortment?
You're more likely to get just a random assortment of cards, because a lot of times when somebody's selling bulk like that, they're getting rid of bulk collection that they have. So it's just, you're going to get a lot of commons, you're going to get a lot of uncommons, and you're not going to get a lot of anything that is actually worth anything.
I gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha. At least playability wise.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's why I'd buy them. I mean, I'm not looking to really resell. I'm looking to buy and build decks and have decks available at my store so people can come in and play and try out the game. So,
right.
So that's what appeals to me about buying in bulk. But I don't want to end up with 1,000 land cards that nobody needs and nobody wants.
Right. I will say though, if you do buy bulk, if they allow, like, don't sit there and try to go through all 1,000 cards. Just kind of finger through real quick and see what's in there. Just because sometimes you can build a pretty okay deck out of just a bulk box. Sometimes,
yeah.
Not all the time.
I gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, Allen, if people want to find out more about you or find more of your content, where can they find your page? Where should they be looking?
Go to TikTok, and I'm Goatbard MTG there on TikTok. You'll know it's me because I have a little plushy goat as my profile picture. I am friend. I do deck techs. I try to be as wholesome as I can in that community. So
absolutely awesome. We'll make sure you check out Allen on TikTok and follow his page for more deck techs and to learn more about Magic. Appreciate you being on the show today, Allen. Really appreciate your time. Yeah. All right. Thanks.